would have to be good. It'd have to be not an obvious way, you know, not a sort of cliche way of bringing up a sci-fi cliche, you know, parallel universe, back from the dead, resurrection, whatever. You know, it would have to be something pretty clever for me to be really invested in it. But to be honest with you, I'm an actor that needs work, so yeah, I'd go back and drop the hat.
Well, which was your favourite villain, and which one was the hardest to work with?
Hardest to work with? The hardest villains to work with are always the ones you can't see, the ones you have to imagine. And that you know, CGI and special effects that aren't physically there in front of you, that's always an actor really has to use his imagination. It's a real test of an actor, which is all about using imagination. But yeah, it's always nicer when there's a big prosthetic monster in front of you, because then all the reactions are generally quite real, quite easy to summon up. But when you have to imagine something, it's a bit more of a tall order.
Hi, I think that everyone is thinking this, so I'm going to be the one to ask it. What was it like getting to know John Barrowman?
Why doesn't anyone ask John Barrowman what it was like to kiss me? Ever. I always get this question. You can look it up on the internet, because I've answered that question at every single convention I've ever done, I think. Awful is the short answer. Sloppy. Always likes to stick his tongue in. No, he was a gentleman, and as a straight guy, a lot of people say, what's it like having to play a gay guy and get intimate with a man on television since you're straight. And to be honest with you, even with straight love scenes, it's still just as awkward, because you've still got a crew of 20 people, and you might hate the person you have to. Yeah, I'd rather kiss John Barrowman than a lot of girls that that I've worked with. No one from Torchwood. So yeah, there's all that awkwardness there, because you've got a film crew. You can never really get into it. It's always still acting. But yeah, he was gracious about it. Except the once where he told the director to keep rolling on the kiss in season 2, the first kiss across the desk. That goes on for about another 30 seconds. It was done in one take, and it's because John Barrowman had asked the director to carry on rolling. That was the only time he's been a bit naughty, but generally he's a gentleman and makes it very easy.
I have a question actually myself. Now that Matt Smith is finishing with Doctor Who, and they have gone with previous actors who've played other characters within that universe as a Doctor before. Because Colin Baker originally played Captain Maximus up as a Gallifreyan Lord. He then became the 6th Doctor. If you were approached to play the Doctor, what would be your response?
Absolutely, yeah.
Would you like to see him as the Doctor?
I think it would be a nice special. I think that would be a good way to bring Ianto back. Suddenly the Doctor is regenerated as Ianto. That would make a good Captain Jack episode, I think. So. What the fuck? Yeah, of course I'd say yes.
And it would give John another excuse to snog you, because he has snogged every other Doctor since the return.
Absolutely, yeah.
So you'd have to keep that tradition going.
Yeah.
Actually, no, he hasn't snogged Matt Smith yet.
No, he hasn't.
Not yet.
Maybe we should...
Not on screen.
We could actually probably cause a temporal paradox if Matt Elliott, who is here as well, if we could reenact some scene. You can play Jack, you can play Matt Smith. Well, everything happens. Everything that happens at ArcadeCon stays at ArcadeCon, so it's okay.
Anything could happen after a few points of Guinness.
Yes. We have any more questions? Come on, Cassie, you know you want it.
I want to know what your favourite TV show is.
I've got lots at the moment. I mean, to be mainstream, I'm loving Game of Thrones.
I love you even more for saying that.
Boardwalk Empire as well. I love period, things with costumes. I haven't really done a period, a long period drama on screen. I've done a bit of Beethoven.
Would the Asylum Sherlock Holmes be counted as period?
You could count it as a lot of things, I suppose. Just about. I mean, the costume was a little tight. But yeah, you could classify that as period.
How much
I mean,
was that
a
to make,
series. I mean, a big grand. With the first episode costs $1 million to make. Not but the whole film cost 20 pence. I mean, the big lavish costume dramas. I'm into at the moment. Bought again by Game of Thrones.
So if somebody came to you tomorrow and asked you to be Downton Abbey.
Yeah, I do Downton Abbey.
Does anyone here watch Downton Abbey? It's a big show. My wife loves it.
There's not enough sword fighting or gunplay in it.
There's not yet. No. But that Irish character gets riled up though, you get a bit angry. It is set in that time.
Yeah.
But yeah. Actually, I had a question as well that just left my head. But there you go. Any other